For nearly a decade, Ford's 10-speed automatic transmission has been one of the most talked about and controversial components in modern trucks and performance vehicles. When it debuted, Ford promised better fuel economy, quicker acceleration, and improved towing capability. On paper, it looked like a game changer. In reality, it became one of the most debated transmissions in Ford's history. Now, as the 2026 model year approaches, a new question is dominating truck forums, dealership conversations, and even engineering discussions inside Detroit. Did Ford quietly kill the 10-speed? The short answer is no. The long answer is far more interesting. What Ford is doing for 2026 isn't a minor update or a simple software patch. According to engineers, suppliers, and industry analysts, the changes fundamentally alter how the 10-speed behaves, how it's calibrated, and how it fits into Ford's long-term powertrain strategy. Some insiders argue this isn't even the same transmission anymore, at least not in spirit. To understand why this matters, we need to look at how the 10-speed earned its reputation in the first place. The 10-speed automatic was co-developed with General Motors, and expectations were more gears meant tighter ratios, better use of the engine's power band, improved efficiency, and greater towing stability. From an engineering standpoint, it made perfect sense. But in real-world driving, many owners experienced something very different. Complaints included harsh shifts, gear hunting at low speeds, delayed engagement, and unpredictable downshifts, especially in stop-and-go traffic or while towing. The issue wasn't universal, but it was widespread enough to hurt consumer confidence. Transmission specialists agreed that most of these problems weren't caused by mechanical failure. Instead, the root cause was software calibration, combined with driver adaptation logic. As one veteran powertrain engineer explains, the transmission was too smart for its own good. It tried to anticipate throttle input, load, grade, and temperature all at once, and when those inputs conflicted, the shifts felt confused. Ford released multiple software updates over the years, and later versions behaved far better than early models. Still, the reputation stuck. By the early 2020s, 10-speed issues had become part of truck culture, fair or not. Given the backlash, many expected Ford to scrap the 10-speed entirely. But from both an engineering and financial perspective, that was never realistic. The 10-speed is deeply embedded in Ford's lineup. It supports EcoBoost V6 engines, high-output V8 South, performance models, and heavy-duty towing applications. Replacing it outright would require billions in redevelopment, retooling, and certification. More importantly, the hardware itself has always been strong. A drivetrain durability consultant puts it bluntly: the clutch packs, planetary gears, and torque capacity are very robust. The complaints were about how it feels, not how it fails. That distinction is critical. Instead of killing the transmission, Ford chose a more radical solution: change how it behaves, how it communicates with the engine, and how much control it gives back to the driver. That's where the 2026 update comes in. One of the biggest misconceptions about the 10-speed is that it needs to use all 10 gears all the time. In reality, engineers now admit it was shifting far too often, especially during light throttle driving. For 2026, Ford's recalibration strategy focuses on gear consolidation. Instead of bouncing between closely spaced ratios, the transmission now holds gears longer, skips unnecessary shifts, and behaves more like a refined 6 or 8-speed during normal driving. An engineer familiar with the update explains it simply: we stopped chasing theoretical efficiency numbers and started prioritizing real-world drivability. If the truck doesn't need to shift, it doesn't shift. That single philosophy change dramatically alters how the transmission feels. Early internal testing shows smoother acceleration, more predictable downshifts, and far less gear hunting at city speeds. Another major change for 2026 is the reduction of what engineers call overcorrection logic. Earlier versions of the 10-speed aggressively adjusted shift behavior based on recent driver inputs. Even small throttle changes could trigger unnecessary downshifts. For 2026, Ford simplified the decision tree. The transmission now relies more on steady-state inputs instead of constantly predicting what the driver might do next. Calibration experts call this a return to fundamentals. Drivers don't want a transmission that guesses, says an independent consultant. They want one that responds. The result is a transmission that feels calmer, more confident, and far less reactive. The 10-speed's reputation suffered most when towing. Under load, frequent downshifts made trucks feel unsettled even when performance numbers were strong. For 2026, towing behavior became a top priority. The updated calibration allows the transmission to lock into fewer gears while towing, reducing heat buildup and minimizing unnecessary shifts on grades. Downshifts are now triggered by torque demand, not throttle position alone. A Twain performance engineer explains, "When you're pulling 10,000 pounds, consistency matters more than quick shifts." This improves driver confidence and reduces long-term wear, especially important for fleet buyers and owners who keep their trucks long past the warranty period. Another reason the 10-speed isn't going away is its compatibility with hybrid systems. Ford's PowerBoost hybrid architecture integrates an electric motor directly into the 10-speed housing. For 2026, this integration has been refined even further. Electric torque field now compensates for fewer down, allowing the transmission to stay in higher gears without sacrificing responsiveness. Hybrid powertrain experts point out that this fundamentally changes how the 10-speed operates. With electric assist, constant gear changes simply aren't necessary to feel strong acceleration. Even non-hybrid models benefit from shared calibration logic, making the entire lineup smoother. While the transmission still has 10 physical gears, engineers now admit they're not all equally important. In practice, the updated 10-speed behaves more like a smart 8-speed, with the extreme upper and lower ratios reserved for highway cruising or heavy towing. Industry analysts see this as a strategic hedge. Ford isn't killing the 10-speed there, moving away from the idea that more gears automatically mean better performance. As electrification expands, intelligent gear usage matters more than headline numbers. The 2026 changes should improve long-term reliability, not because the hardware changed dramatically, but because the transmission is working less aggressively. Fewer shifts mean fewer clutch engagements, lower heat cycles, and reduced wear. As one transmission rebuild specialist puts it, any automatic transmission lasts longer when it's not constantly hunting for gears. A fair question is why Ford didn't make these changes sooner. The answer lies in regulatory pressure, fuel economy targets, and emissions compliance. Early calibrations prioritized lab data over subjective feel. Over time, customer feedback forced a shift in priorities. OEMs are finally accepting that how a vehicle feels matters as much as what it measures on paper. The 2026 update reflects that cultural change. Ford didn't kill the 10-speed. They fixed its personality. The 2026 update transforms it from an overeager gear changer into a confident, refined workhorse. By prioritizing real-world driving over theoretical efficiency, Ford addressed the root causes of customer frustration. This isn't a flashy hardware revolution, but it may be one of the most meaningful powertrain updates Ford has made in years. For longtime skeptics, it may not erase the past. For future owners, it changes everything.